The sun hung low over the rolling hills of the Texas Hill Country, painting the sky in streaks of orange and pink as it dipped toward the horizon. At the Silver Spur Ranch, a sprawling 200-acre spread just outside Dallas, near the quaint town of Prosper, the air smelled of fresh-cut hay, blooming wildflowers, and the faint smokiness of mesquite grilling in the distance. Longhorn cattle grazed lazily in the pastures, their curved horns catching the golden light like polished brass. String lights draped between ancient live oaks twinkled softly, waiting for dusk. A massive white tent rose on the lawn overlooking a serene pond, tables set with crisp linens, mason jars of bluebonnets and sunflowers, and barbecue stations promising brisket, ribs, and all the fixings a Texas wedding demanded. This was supposed to be the perfect day for Emily Harper and Jake Thompson. Emily, 26, radiant in her lace A-line gown with cowboy boots peeking out beneath the hem, had dreamed of this rustic luxury since she was a little girl riding horses on her family's modest farm in East Texas. Jake, 28, a solid, quiet software engineer from a working-class Dallas suburb, had proposed under these very oaks 2 years ago. Their love was simple, steady, the kind built on late-night drives, shared dreams, and mutual respect. But not everyone saw it that way. Victor Langford, Jake's father, stood at the edge of the ceremony area like he owned the place, which technically he kind of did. Victor had footed most of the bill for the wedding, insisting on upgrading everything to his standards. The man was a real estate developer whose name appeared on half the new subdivisions popping up across North Texas. Langford Developments promised luxury living at attainable prices, sprawling gated communities with fake lakes, clubhouses, and McMansions that looked like they'd been airlifted from California. Victor drove a black Escalade with tinted windows, wore custom boots from LiesA, and had a smile that never quite reached his eyes. He'd never hidden his disappointment in Jake. "A coder? Really? You could have been running divisions, son. Instead, you're punching keys in some cubicle." And Emily? To Victor, she was that little farm girl who lucked into his family. He'd made snide comments at every family dinner, every holiday, every time Jake brought her around. She's sweet, I'll give her that. But does she even know which fork to use? The worst came the night before the wedding at the rehearsal dinner in the ranch's rustic barn-turned-event space. Victor, 3 whiskeys deep, pulled Jake aside near the bar. "Listen, boy," he said, voice low but carrying. "This is your last chance to back out before you tie yourself to mediocrity. That girl's got no ambition, no pedigree. You'll be scraping by while I build empires. Think about it." Jake clenched his jaw. "Dad, Emily's the best thing that ever happened to me." "Drop it." Victor laughed, loud enough for nearby guests to turn. "Best thing? Son, you're delusional. She's dragging you down. Mark my words. You'll regret this." Emily overheard. She didn't say anything then. She just smiled politely, excused herself to fix her makeup, and slipped outside into the cool night air. Tears stung, but she wiped them away. She'd dealt with worse. Growing up, her dad, Tom Harper, had worked double shifts as a mechanic to keep the lights on after her mom passed. Tom taught her everything: how to change oil, spot a liar, stand up straight when the world tried to knock you down. And Tom had been watching Victor for months. It started innocently enough. When Victor bragged about his latest project, Langford Estates Phase 3, a massive development in Frisco with promises of resort-style amenities and guaranteed appreciation, Tom got curious. He knew construction. He knew permits. He knew when numbers didn't add up. Tom began digging quietly. Public records, old news clippings, whispers from subcontractors who'd worked Langford jobs. What he found chilled him. Victor hadn't just cut corners. He'd built an empire on lies. Hundreds of families had bought into his pre-construction luxury homes, putting down deposits on properties that existed only on glossy brochures. Victor used those funds, not to build, but to pay off earlier investors, cover his lavish lifestyle, and fund side ventures. Shell companies shuffled money around, fake progress reports, bribes to inspectors. And when complaints arose, lawsuits buried under NDAs, threats of countersuits, or straight-up intimidation. The IRS was sniffing around. The Texas Real Estate Commission had received anonymous tips. A class action suit from disgruntled buyers was brewing in Dallas federal court. Victor had embezzled millions, leaving families with unfinished foundations, cracked dreams, and drained savings accounts. Tom had proof: bank statements, emails, whistleblower recordings from a former project manager who'd quit in disgust. He'd compiled it all into a folder on his old laptop, waiting for the right moment. That moment came during the wedding reception. The ceremony had gone beautifully. Emily and Jake exchanged vows under a flower-draped arch, promising forever amid cheers and tears. Guests, Emily's big, rowdy family from the country, Jake's quieter side, and Victor's polished business crowd, moved to the tent for dinner and dancing. As the sun set and the band struck up a slow country tune, it was time for toasts. Jake's best man went first, light, funny, heartfelt. Then Victor stood, glass raised, microphone in hand. The crowd quieted. "Ladies and gentlemen," Victor began, voice smooth as bourbon, "today we celebrate my son Jake and his beautiful bride, Emily." He paused, letting the compliment hang. "Now, I wasn't always sold on this match. Jake's a smart kid. Could have gone far in the family business, but love makes fools of us all, right?" A few chuckles. Emily's grip tightened on Jake's hand under the table. Victor continued, smirk growing. "Emily's a sweet girl, raised simple, hard-working folks. Nothing wrong with that. But let's be honest, marrying into the Langford name? That's moving up in the world. Jake's trading blue-collar roots for something bigger. I just hope she can keep up." The tent went silent. Jake's face flushed. Emily's eyes narrowed. Victor raised his glass higher. "To the happy couple, may you build a life, even if it's not quite the empire I envisioned." He sat to scattered, awkward applause. Tom Harper rose slowly from his seat at the family table. He was in his best suit, nothing fancy, just clean and pressed. Grey hair, calloused hands, steady gaze. He walked to the mic stand, took it gently from its holder. "Evening, folks," Tom said, voice calm but carrying across the tent like gravel under boots. "Name's Tom Harper, Emily's dad, proud papa today." He looked at Victor. "Mr. Langford, I appreciate the hospitality. This ranch is beautiful. Food's good, band's tight." A pause. Guests shifted. "But I got something to say. See, I've been listening to you talk about empires and moving up for months now. And I figured, maybe it's time everyone knew what kind of empire you're really building." Victor chuckled nervously. "Tom, come on. This is a wedding." "No, sir," Tom interrupted. "This is the day my daughter marries your son. And before they start their life together, I think Jake, and everyone here, deserves the truth." Tom pulled a USB drive from his pocket, held it up. "This here's evidence. Bank records, emails, court filings, all public. Or about to be." Victor's smile faded. "Langford Developments," Tom continued, "promised luxury homes to over 400 families in the last 5 years. Phase 1, 2, 3, beautiful renderings, model homes, the works. But dig a little deeper, and you find most of those homes ain't finished. Foundations poured, then abandoned. Deposits taken, never refunded. Subcontractors stiffed, investors, folks who trusted you, left holding worthless notes." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Victor stood. "This is outrageous. Lies." Tom didn't flinch. "I got a former employee who recorded conversations. You laughing about how easy it was to flip investor money, how you'd use new deposits to pay old ones. Classic Ponzi. And the IRS. They got questions about unreported income, offshore accounts, fake LLCs." He turned to the guests. "Some of y'all might even be investors. Check your portfolios. That guaranteed return on Langford promissory notes might not be coming." Victor's face went pale. "You have no proof." Tom plugged the USB into a laptop connected to the big screen behind the head table. A projector flickered to life. First slide. A list of unfinished developments, photos of skeletal frames overgrown with weeds. Second, bank transfers showing millions funneled to personal accounts, luxury cars, private jets. Third, screenshots of emails, Victor writing to a partner. "Keep 'em dreaming. We'll cash out before it collapses." The tent erupted in gasps. Emily stood, tears in her eyes but chin high. Jake pulled her close. Victor lunged for the laptop. "Turn that off. This is defamation. I'll sue." But two of Jake's uncles, big guys from the oil fields, stepped forward, blocking him. Tom kept going. "I ain't doing this for revenge, Victor. I'm doing it for my girl, for Jake, for the families you cheated. Truth matters, especially on a day like today." He looked at the couple. "Emily, Jake, you'll start fresh. No shadows, no lies." The screen went dark. Victor tried to bolt, but security hired for the event already had eyes on him. Someone called the authorities. Sirens wailed in the distance minutes later. The reception didn't end in chaos. Instead, it shifted. Emily's family rallied around the couple. Toasts turned heartfelt. Dancing continued under the stars, but with a different energy. Relief, solidarity.